My name's Jane Cherry, I'm the centre manager. I'm the head riding instructor, stable management here, and I'm a British Horse Society intermediate instructor, and I've worked here for about 35 years. And over the years there's been quite a lot of changes. I mean, initially it was only for disabled people and there was no cost, everything was free. And at that time we used to get a lot of help with costs. Sort of the local farmer would help with some hay. The veterinary costs then didn't seem to be quite as bad as they are now, and we could get along quite easily given the free rides. And then it just got to the point that we were getting a little bit bigger. We couldn't rely on just volunteers anymore, so we had to pay for staff, and staff and salaries is the biggest amount of money that we have to pay out, really. So we still have lots of volunteers that help, but we do also have a staff of 12, which is not a huge amount, but it's still a fair old bill. So we had to start then charging for lessons. Initially I think we only charged about £5, and we lost off quite a lot of riders at that point, because obviously when it was free it was accessible to everybody, so we used to have loads and loads of groups came. Then once there was a charge it dropped off a little bit, so we changed really a little bit from focusing a lot on children to more adults. So then we had to change horses because we didn't need so many little ponies, and we got bigger horses. And about that time we also went into able-bodied riders. So a lot of the RDA ride during the days and at weekends, so it leaves the evenings free. So it seems a good idea to still utilise the centre, so we'll have able-bodied people riding on the evenings after work. So all in all, we're kept fairly busy. We've got the able-bodied people, the RDA and liveries as well. So there's lots of people about all the time. We'll try and get as many funding bids in as possible, but each one has its own criteria. So they're quite specific what you can actually be asking for, or you might not have the criteria that is required to be eligible for the fund. So Eileen, who does our administration, she puts in the funding bids, and I would say she probably puts in maybe 5 or 6 a month. Out of those there might only be one that's successful, and you can't kind of reuse them because they're all tailored specifically for that bid. So it's quite a time-consuming thing, because every time she's putting in a bid, she's having to do a whole lot of paperwork for everyone. But we are successful. Recently we've had the indoor arena surface replaced. That was from 2 different bids. We're going to get the lights done. They're going to get changed to LED lighting, and it's going to be more, it'll look like daylight all the time, and that's going to be much better for our autistic riders as well, because quite often the light affects autistic people. So through that sort of avenue, that's how we've managed to get funding for the lights, and they'll be cheaper to run, so it'll keep the costs down a little bit as well. I think my favourite thing is the autistic children, who quite often can't socialise with other children or other adults in the way that they do have a connection with the horses. A lot of children that we'll get they can't go to school, they haven't been expelled, but they're not in education and they need to do other things. We like working with those kids because they can be really quite angry and have a lot of issues, which again at school they just don't conform, they don't fit in, and then they come here and because it's a horse, it's a totally different relationship. And they learn a lot of things like consequence. You know, if we don't do things the way that we've told them to do it, they're going to get stood on, pushed over, bitten. So I think that's quite a good thing to learn, because in normal life when you're saying to them, don't do this, don't do that, they can't see sometimes why you're saying it, and you just think you're getting at them all the time, and there's rules to everything. And you know, teenagers are like, it's all like, oh gosh, you know, they're always telling us not to do this, not to do that. But then they come to an environment like this where if you don't do what you're told, there are consequences. And I think that kind of links to life skills that they can take away. And also they can have a relationship with a horse that's totally different to people. Horses don't judge you. They're always willing to interact with people. So I think they find it a lot easier to do that with the horse than they do with other humans. So I like to see those, and we've had some real sort of good cases where we had one girl who was excluded, that's the word I wanted. she was excluded from school, and she used to come here a couple of days a week, and she did that. And at first she just was really angry, quite aggressive, didn't really have any self-esteem or confidence. And when she had her riding lessons, if she couldn't do something straight away or the horse wasn't doing what she wanted, she used to just go off the deep end and shout and go on about it. And even at some point she would just get off the horse and leave the arena and just leave the horse, so it stood there. And then she was here for 2 years with school, and then we took her on as a modern apprentice. And over the next 2 years she did her NVQ level 2, and that she's just a totally different girl now. I mean, I know she's a bit older and she's more mature, but she's just able to now deal with issues and problems, and she doesn't just fly off at the deep end. You know, she sees things for what they are. She's got loads more self-esteem and confidence, and she's just turned out to be a really nice young person. They're the kind of success stories that you want to see.
My name's Eric Thomas, and I'm Baz's brother-in-law. I'm 63 and Baz is 50. And we come from Sunderland, a place called Barnes, near the Sunderland Hospital. Yeah, so we've been coming here for about 4 years now. And I really enjoy it. He gets a buzz out of it. He's had some single lessons when there's people not turn up to give Baz a phone call, and we whiz them through in the car to get a one-to-one lesson, which we'll pay for, obviously. Yeah. But he loves it. He's just he does quite a lot of things, actually. It's not just over the years. He's done football, he's done gymnastics, plays pool, he goes to the pub now and again with me and my friends, goes to horse racing. We go all over the place, do all kinds. He works at Morrison's full time. Well, I'd say full time now, he's only on 20 hours a week. Yeah. What he used to, but he's getting older now, so he gets tired easy compared to what he used to when he was younger. So he's doing really good for 50. He's fit as a fiddle. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. And obviously, since I've knew Baz was only 7 when I met his sister, and we've done loads of sports. I used to play football, and I used to go and coach his school football team with my brother-in-law who played football. Yeah. So he's always played football. We encourage him to do sports, kept him fit by doing exercise and not diet, but good food, and going to bed early. Yeah, he's got a good social life. He's part of the Downs Association, which is like North East one. Goes to the balls, and he goes to all kinds of things. 10-pin bowling every every month. 10-pin bowling. As I say, he goes to dances, social nights, and pretty good. But he's got lots of people who care for him, you know, like his sister. He's got 2 sisters and 2 brother-in-laws. So while I'm in, I've got a son who's 23, still at home, and he takes him all the time to bits and pieces as well. So he's got a good life. Because a lot of people don't get as much put into them, do they? You know, so everything's good. Well, it's everything. We try to be positive. That's what we try to be. It's not going to be negative, because it's difficult in the house sometimes, because Baz can't join into every conversation, because he doesn't know about the things that your conversation entails, you know. But he's always interested. He likes telly. He's got a lovely bedroom where he can go and do his own thing. Yeah. But we try and encourage him not to stay in the bedroom, to come downstairs, you know, and be with everybody else.
Name Barry Lee, and I am best number 1. And sometimes I am very good at things, and I do my work, and everything I want. I get football and horse riding, my best.
Is it your favourite?
Yeah.
Do you like coming here?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a favourite horse?
Tom.
Is he who you want today or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been coming here?
Well, here back a long time ago.
Long time.
Yeah.
Have a favourite thing that you like to do on the horses?
Trot. My favourite trot. I do drawing and that, same things. I do my maybe my books, magazines about horses. I do that. I read my bed and that.
Did you like the horses?
Yeah, I do.
Ever learn everything you can about them?
Yeah. And all on is I do gymnastics and I dancing. I do everything in work,
Yeah.
like buckets and rubbish, returns back and clean up, like that. Very good. Well, I love it. I'm proud of myself. Come here. See my a lot of friends. And again drinking. No loads.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Made lots of friends here.
Oh yeah.
People
Got
and horses.
loads. Big ones, little ones.